Hello everyone, my name is Josh Beither, and my main claim for you today is that restricting the drinking age to 21 is ineffective and endangers our youth. I will show this by showing that 1, the desire for young adults to rebel only further causes irresponsibility and binge drinking, and by showing that 2, those under the age of 21 already drink and are put into dangerous situations because of it. First, some background. The drinking age of 21 in the U.S. was started with the National Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984, which essentially forced all the states to raise their drinking age to 21 or pay heavy fines. Before this, several states had their drinking ages range anywhere from 18 to 20 years old. But with the passing of this act, the U.S. became only one of 3 developed countries in the world to raise their drinking age over the usual drinking age of 18. Along with Japan and Iceland, both of which have their drinking ages of 20. Now regarding my first minor claim that the desire for young adults to rebel only further causes irresponsibility and binge drinking. For those of you who don't know, binge drinking is essentially drinking a large amount of alcohol in a very short amount of time in order to get drunk. And for teens, this is basically the preferred method of drinking. Now studies done by the Center for Disease Control show that 25.6% of young adults aged 18 through 24 binged during the last month prior to the survey. Binge drinking at such a young age, when the body is still developing, has shown to lead to changes in brain development that may have long-term negative effects. And nationwide, 39% of students had had at least one drink during the last 30 days prior to the survey. Now, the interesting part about this statistic is that all of these totals declined as the age of respondents to the survey increased, showing that it loses its thrill as they grow older and alcohol simply becomes another drink. Now you may be thinking that this is the case for all teens around the world, but in a study done by the Lancet Medical Journal, it found that American teenagers was the highest among any other developed country, most of which tend to have their drinking ages around 16 to 18 years old. This shows that while for American teens drinking is for the thrill and danger, for other first world countries it's simply seen as another drink. Being exposed to alcohol at such a young age, many European teens are so used to alcohol that it's no longer a big deal for them, while here in America it's seen as a forbidden fruit for teens. Now regarding my second minor claim, that those under the age of 21 already drink and are put into dangerous situations because of it, in a study conducted by the CDC, 71% of high school students admitted to having drunk alcohol at least once in their life. And in another study by the American Medical Association, 2 out of 3 teens aged 13 through 18 said it's easy to get alcohol from their homes without their parents knowing about it. 1/3 responded that it's easy to obtain alcohol from their parents knowingly, which increases to 40% when it's from a friend's parent. And 1 in 4 teens have attended a party where minors were drinking in front of their parents. In a society where alcohol is ever present, it's difficult for teens to lead a social life and not come in contact with alcohol on a weekly or monthly basis. Also, in a study done by the University of Minnesota, when young females attempted to buy alcohol from a convenience store, approximately 47 to 52% of them were successful in buying alcohol or beer. These statistics show that the drinking age of 21 truly does no help in preventing teens from drinking alcohol, let alone buying it from a store or sneaking it from their parents' house. Now, when these kids want to drink alcohol and they can't get it from their house or hide it from their parents, they tend to go to parties or raves. In these situations with dark rooms packed with strangers and blaring music, it's easy for things to go wrong. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse found that youth who drink are more likely to carry out or be the victim of physical or sexual assault. As well, more than 190,000 people under age 21 visited an emergency room for alcohol-related injuries in 2008 alone. Not only that, but drinking also caused poor judgment on the youth's part, leading to dangerous activities such as drinking and driving. Coupled with inappropriate locations such as parties and raves, the likelihood of something going wrong is only increased. If youth were instead able to drink in their own situations, they would be more in control and more likely to have someone nearby who can make responsible decisions for them. And in conclusion, as you can see, restricting the drinking age to 21 is simply ineffective and endangers everybody. I've shown this by proving that 1, the desire for youth to rebel only further causes irresponsibility and binge drinking, as well as showing the dangers that teens are put into while attempting to do so. Thank you for my time.
5 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right, the proposition has a little bit of a problem because it's broken into two parts. You do a good job laying out the secondary claims and signposting them as you get to them. You start immediately providing evidence on each of the points, and I think you do a good job qualifying the information that you present. You've got a lot of statistical data on the first point. Sometimes I think you need to explain the inference from the statistics a little bit more. You give us conclusions, and I'm not sure that I see the reasoning that's going into the conclusion that you're drawing from those statistics. All the fact that people under a particular age drink doesn't necessarily show that that means that the law is ineffective. It means that those people were not deterred by the law, but it doesn't disprove that anybody else was deterred or that they didn't drink less as a consequence of the law. I think that that's a big inference that you're making on that particular point. On the second point, I thought that you did an interesting job explaining a concept, but connecting it to the evidence that you had is a little bit problematic. You list a whole bunch of problems that people have when they drink under a particular age, but the fact that they are drinking under the age, why are those problems not related to the fact that they're intoxicated as opposed to where they happen to be drinking? You've just kind of made this big inferential leap that it's a result of the fact that there's not somebody else there to make a decision for them, as opposed to the fact that everybody at the party is, for lack of a better term, three sheets to the wind. That's the polite way of saying it. I was going to say something else, but that's a polite way of expressing it. So why is it likely that there would be fewer of those incidents? It seems to me like a lot of the stuff that you're talking about there with the drunk driving, the assaults, the bad decisions that people make are a consequence of just drinking at all as opposed to where they happen to be drinking. You need a stronger explanation of that link. And I thought you did a pretty good job summarizing the argument at the end. And like I said, I thought you were very consistent about citing the sources for your argument. Thank you.